In ancient Egypt, death was not seen to be a humane enough means to put an end to one's suffering. Even in the afterlife, danger lurked around every corner, and the deceased had to overcome what amounted to a spiritual obstacle course in order to arrive at Aaru, the glorious realm where Osiris, the god of death, resided. There were at least two routes to get to Aaru. One was by land and the other was by sea. Both were challenging enough that they called for the use of a guidebook, which was suitably called the Book of Two Ways. It's possible that this complex map of the underworld of ancient Egypt was the first illustrated book in the history of our planet, and archaeologists have only recently uncovered a copy that is 4,000 years old, making it arguably the oldest version that has ever been found. What chilling messages does this book hold, and what does its content mean for Egyptologists? Stay with us until the very end to learn everything there is to know about this most recent shocking discovery. The discovery, which was recently written about in a paper that was published in the Journal of Egyptian Archaeology, pushes the history of ancient literature further back in time. It also demonstrates the level of commitment and ingenuity with which these individuals attempted to solve the mystery of their own mortality. An Egyptology curator at the University of California, Berkeley, named Rita Lucarelli, stated in an interview that the ancient Egyptians were obsessed with life in all its forms. Death was the beginning of a new life for them. There are only about 20 additional copies of Book of Two Ways known to current archaeologists, so the newest one is actually the oldest one of the lot. According to an article that Colin Barris wrote for New Scientist in October, it beats the previous record holder by around 40 years. The text was found in a coffin that had largely eluded the attention of both grave robbers and earlier generations of archaeologists. It was discovered during excavation of a burial pit in the Egyptian village of Deir el-Basha. The ancient text was not a solitary volume like the bound books we have now. Rather, it was part of a larger collection. Instead, portions of the text were inscribed on the interior of the sarcophagus itself, and these portions have been preserved in the shape of two rotting cedar panels that are engraved with images and hieroglyphs. The inscriptions make direct reference to the Book of Two Ways, and additional objects in the tomb have been dated to the time of Pharaoh Mentuhotep II, who ruled Egypt until 2010 BC. The author of the study, Harco Willems, an Egyptologist at the University of Leuven in Belgium, stated in an interview that such coffin texts were supposed to situate the deceased in the world of the gods. This sarcophagus housed a high-status woman named Ankh. However, the afterlife instructions on her final resting place refer to her as he. According to Kara Cooney, an expert on Egyptian art and architecture at the University of California, Los Angeles, rebirth was associated most closely with male gods in ancient Egypt. As a result, dead women were required to adopt the pronoun he in order to be more similar to Osiris himself, she explained. However, there were some clues of customization in Ankh's Book of Two Ways. The poem hinted that she may have encountered an obstacle early on in her voyage in the form of a ring of fire. In later years, it's possible that she battled evil spirits, demons, and even earthly threats like fire. The only defense against these calamities were spells cast by the dead Ankh herself. Fortunately, the companion material that came with it contained detailed instructions on how to perform these incantations. The maps in this book and other like it are a confusing mess of winding lines and sinister figures, symbols that are impossible to decipher in this day and age. Some experts believe that the depictions were derived from images of life rather than images of death, and that they were supposed to evoke rites that were intended to bring gods or humans who had died back from the dead. In either case, the text represented rebirth, whether in this world or another. Most historians agree that the earliest types of writing appeared around 5,000 years ago, and thanks to the discovery of innumerable remarkable books in recent years, they've helped us piece together a picture of what life would have been like thousands of years ago. These written reports cover a wide range of issues, but it's the ones we don't comprehend that pique our curiosity. An intriguing book has purportedly been discovered in Egypt, with the finders claiming that the book appears to be thousands of years old and written in a language that they were unable to translate. They shared some photos on social media in the hopes that someone would be able to translate it and provide some background information. A local tour guide discovered the book on the Giza Plateau, according to the man, and he was able to hold it and photograph it. He stated that his present whereabouts is unknown, but that it is most likely being sold on the black market, which is customary when such discoveries are made. One person argued that because the book is written in an ancient language, it may let the reader communicate with a higher power. The Egyptian civilization is one of the oldest in human history. The ancient Egyptians are well known for their contributions to art, medicine, and the legendary documentation of discoveries. The Egyptians were experts in incorporating anatomy and mythology into artistic symbols and figures. One of the most well-known mythologies in ancient Egypt is that of Isis, Osiris, and Horus. The Eye of Horus, taken from the tale of Isis and Osiris, was employed as a symbol of prosperity and protection. This symbol has a remarkable relationship between neuroanatomical structure and function. The eye is composed of 6 distinct artistic pieces. From a mythical standpoint, each portion of the eye is regarded as a separate symbol. Furthermore, sections of the eye represent words in the series half, quarter, eighth, 1/16th, and 1/32nd. When this image is placed on a sagittal image of the human brain, each part appears to correlate to the anatomical position of a specific human sensorium. The man who submitted the photographs admitted that he couldn't hold it for long, but he could tell it was old. He stated that he appears to be unable to decipher at least 2 languages of styles of writing. According to one source, the book appears to be ancient, and it makes sense that such a book would exist, given that ancient Egypt was known to have the Eye of Horus, which they adored. They saw it as a protective emblem, so it seems logical that you'd find it on an old book. The ancient Egyptians used this emblem on everything as a good luck charm. In terms of the book's legitimacy, there's a lot of money to be made with these kinds of findings, especially if they're sold through unregulated markets. It could be authentic, but it could also be a recreation or a complete fabrication. In a separate find, the ancient manuscript known as the Book of the Dead was uncovered from within an Egyptian tomb. The ancient Book of the Dead scroll, recently found at Egypt's Saqqara necropolis, may not be bound in human skin like the infamous Necronomicon shown in the Evil Dead films, but it does serve as a chilling guide to the hereafter. International researchers led by renowned Egyptologist Dr. Zawi Hawass discovered a new trove of antiquities at the 4,200-year-old funeral temple of Queen Nit, wife of Pharaoh Teti. Teti ruled Egypt between around 2323 and 2291 BC. The treasure includes over 50 wooden sarcophagi, a Senate board game, a riverboat with rowers, a statue of Taha-Sokar Osiris, wooden masks, an Anubis shrine, and a burial sanctuary dedicated to an old kingdom queen, in addition to the 13-foot-long Book of the Dead papyrus scroll depicting paths to the netherworlds of the deceased. According to an official statement issued by Egypt's Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, Dr. Hawass and his colleagues discovered the coffins and various antiquities dating back to the New Kingdom era, 1570 to 1069 BC, in 52 distinct burial tunnels ranging from 33 to 40 feet deep. These vast burial cemeteries can be found in Memphis, Egypt's former capital. This lucky discovery occurred after many seasons of excavations in the funeral temple representing Queen Nit's cult, which surrounds the pyramid of King Teti, the first king of Dynasty 6. The cache of sarcophagi was embellished with ancient god murals and fragments from the Book of the Dead, a spiritual manual said to aid the recently deceased in getting to Aaru, the heavenly paradise where Osiris dwells. The excavation started in 2010 when we discovered a pyramid of a queen next to the pyramid of King Teti, but we didn't find a name inside the pyramid to tell us who the pyramid belonged to, Dr. Hawass said. I'd never heard of this queen before, therefore we add an important piece to Egyptian history about this queen. The 13-foot-long papyrus holding chapter 17 of the Book of the Dead, a text that ancient Egyptians used as an instruction manual to explore the realms of the hereafter, was perhaps the most intriguing item found in the trove. Puakahef, the owner of the sacred scroll, is inscribed on it. The same name was discovered written on a wood coffin and a set of 4 Shabti figurines designed to serve the deceased. Dr. Hawass further stated that this was the first time a long papyrus had been discovered within a burial shaft. The stone temple was made up of 3 mud brick warehouses on its southeastern side, which housed offerings sent to the queen and her husband. It served as a focal point for rituals and offerings made for the queen's cult in order to nourish and resurrect her everlasting spirit after death. This large cemetery predates the coffins by at least 8 centuries, adding to the historical significance of the mission's extraordinary discoveries and providing another piece of the puzzle as to the site's origins. Let us know what you think of these ancient Egyptian books in the comments section below.